Hey Nick, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How about yourself?
Well, to our viewers or readers, this is Nick Gosseen from Specialized. And Nick, why don't you explain to us what you're actually doing for Specialized?
I am the product manager for saddles. So, taking new concepts and trying to bring them to market. This year, we focused a lot on the triathlon saddle. And so, this is our big release for 2014.
So, anytime when Specialized has a new saddle, does that mean you have your fingers on them?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's not just myself, it's a team with designers, engineers, developers. We have medical doctors, our SBCU fit professors. It's certainly not just me that goes into the saddle. It's really a whole team of experts. And I'm just a guy that gets to sit here and reveal it to you. So,
No, I know we didn't think that you were the only person behind it, but I'm saying your fingers are to some degree involved, more or
oh,
less.
absolutely.
So we're talking actually specifically about one saddle. A couple weeks ago, during the Abu Dhabi triathlon, we noticed Melissa Hauschild and Konrad Stolz had a new specialized saddle on their bike called Sitero, I think. If
It's
that's
Sitero, actually.
Sitero.
Sitero.
And our readers have asked about the saddle, and we didn't know. So we figured instead of talking to the marketing person and getting the marketing spiel, we want to hear from the engineer. And that's why we talked to you.
So,
Um, when did that whole development for this new saddle start?
it started a couple of years ago. We started trying to think outside of the box. We knew the traditional triathlon saddle shape, how it worked and how it felt, and really got the gears turning because we had a lot of triathletes come to us saying that the solutions on the market weren't working. So it was really a couple of years ago, but the true development started probably a year and a half ago, where we started cutting up saddles, laying up prototypes, testing with amateurs, with professionals. Was really like a year and a half ago. We started to dig in and take this on as our big project for the year.
And now, considering that we saw Melissa and Conrad in Abu Dhabi with it, when did they first have their hands on the saddle?
Conrad had it just a few months before the race, I believe. But Melissa was there with us in the beginning. She was actually testing some of the original prototypes that we literally shaped by hand. Myself and one of the designers hand laid up carbon. We molded foam to go over the carbon, and we brought her these really handcrafted and believe me, kind of crude looking prototypes. And we tested with her in Boulder and had her give feedback on different nose widths, different angles, different hardnesses of foams, and really took her input right from the beginning.
So why don't you show us that new saddle?
So here
I
is
would assume you have one nearby. So
we have
pick
a
it up a
few.
little bit more, yes.
Here's the Sitero Pro, which is a
Right.
carbon railed version
And
of the.
we see it has a built-in cage holder.
Correct. So the saddle actually has, we'll pull up another one here, has, this is what it looks like with nothing on the bottom. So if you can
Right.
see, there's a two mounting points and a third mounting point down here. And the saddle comes with a hook. And the hook allows you to store it in the transition area. When you bolt on, you simply lift up the little rubber grommets there, bolt it in, and you can store it. But if you don't like that, you can take it off and then put on the piece that we're calling the tripod that bolts in on those three mounting points and allows you to have your mounting location for your water bottle cage.
And then you can still hook it below.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. If there's enough seat post clearance, you can still hook it below, or you can hook it off the front too.
Right. Very nice. So we see it's a split saddle on the top, but what's the width of the nose?
The width of the nose, that's actually a good question. I don't know the numerical width off the top of my head. It's narrower than some, wider than some road saddles, but basically the nose is not meant to be sat on. This is purely a support. We've coined it as like a healthy pressure that allows you to kind of stay tucked into the saddle and relieve some of the pressure that goes on your arms on like a traditional noseless saddle where you might fall off the front. The nose keeps you locked into the saddle. See if you can see it here.
Right.
This area with the perforation, it's a little tough to see, but there's dots here that are perforated in the cover is what we were calling the sit zone. And this angle right here is what's crucial to the fit of the saddle. So the angle matches up with your pubic rami. Pull up this kind of plastic pelvis here. The angle on your pelvis here is actually what matches up with the saddle.
Right.
You can kind of see there's similar shape.
That makes sense, yeah. So you would not sit as far forward as one may imagine. That's what you're basically saying to us.
Correct. You don't sit right on the very tip. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get structural support on your bones. In the past, traditional saddles have given you just one platform to sit on that have I guess, crushed your soft tissue to some degree. And what we've tried to do is move that pressure out to your bones and allow you to rotate your hips and still maintain stable support on both sides, not just one side or the other.
But so the thinking is truly this is very much triathlon specific and possibly road oriented, but maybe not so much road TT.
This is a road TT saddle. It's a triathlon saddle. It's not a road saddle. So when we started this project, we literally took everything we knew about road saddles and threw it out the window. Started with the body, what the body's needs were when they were rotated in a super aero position. That said, it works. It's designed for triathlon, but works really well for TT.
Why wouldn't it work for someone on a road bike?
You know, that's a good question. It's as you sit up. The best way I can explain it is this: is that if the tip of my fingers is the pubic symphysis here, right, the center, which you can't sit on. This is like your pubic bone. If you have the tip of your fingers and then these are your sit bones, as you spread out, these sit bones have a large distance apart. But as you go towards your pubic symphysis, the angle is bigger and shallow, or it's actually shallower. So we're able to size more people on one size. But as you sit up into a road position, you need a wider range of sizes. Back here, this side back here isn't necessarily good for road.
Got you. Now that makes more sense. But now that you've gone down that road, so to speak, does that mean that you are now really having to rework some of your road models too, or is that?
No, our road models work really well because we aim for support on your ischial tuberosities, which are here. But as you rotate further forward into the aero position, we want to support you here. So the design that what we've learned here could potentially influence what we do with road saddles, but it definitely doesn't negate sizing. And it's a different style of riding, as you know, that when you want to rotate so much further forward, you're using different structure on your body.
Excellent. Anything else that we missed talking about this set?
A little bit. One thing is that we actually welded the cover here. It might be a little tough to see, but there's one material here that feels very similar to this by touching of your hand. I don't know can you see that line?
Yeah, we can see it. Yeah.
It's pretty subtle, but this is actually a super low friction material. So this helps you stay planted in its higher friction, but with your legs on the sides, this is low friction. So this should be really smooth to your shorts.
And what's the weight as we have it as
the weight I believe is 230 for the Pro with the hook included.
And
I'd have to double check on that.
And since you keep mentioning the Pro, how many different editions or versions are there? So there's a Pro, is that an Elite, or what is there?
Right. So the Pro is carbon railed, and the Expert, which we have, is titanium rails. The Pro comes in black, and then the Expert comes in black and white.
Got you.
Mm-hmm.
And when can people expect to see those in stores?
They should be landing in mid-April.
So
I'm seeing April 15th. I know it's mid-April, but April 15th they should be in stores.
That sounds great. Well, Nick, thanks so much for all those details on the new saddle. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
And we'll look forward to having one of those in our hands ourselves.
Sounds great. You'll have one soon.
Thanks.
All right, thanks.